they'll get here when they get here, but let's go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, tonight I'm going to be making one of my signature dishes. So you may or may not recognize this grain here. All right. This is a very simple grain that can do just about anything. I would call this probably the easiest thing you could do in the world, which is cook grits. Grits, if you don't know what they are, this is ground up corn. Some people call it hominy. You've seen it, I'm sure, just about any and everywhere. And polenta is also like a close sister to that. Now, the thing about grits are, although they're simple, they can be very complex at the same time. And that kind of goes into me. That's exactly what this is. Sometimes life, although may appear to be very simple, at the same time, it's very complex. And we may or may not like to look at it that way, but what I like to, associate myself is a person that looks at the world and everything that it has in it, and I try to take it, and I try to consume it, and I try to eat as many things as I can. Okay. Now, let's see here. If we can get everybody to mute just for a moment while we're in the session. All right, there we go. Okay, so as I was saying before, grits, they're a very simple item, but at the same time, because they can be so complex, most people don't know how to eat them. Most people don't know how to cook them. And again, that goes back into life. Life could appear to be very simple, but at the same time, it has these complexities that if you don't really know what you're doing and you don't know how to do it and you didn't get any instructions on how to do it, it seems way more complex than what it really is. And that kind of goes back into where we're at today and why I've invited you guys to come here and eat with me. So when I say eat, I don't mean eat in the sense or in the form of eating food. When I say eat, my eat is to enjoy all things. And when I say enjoy all things, you got to take life as it comes to you, but you also have to consume it in a way that it fits your life. So let's just say somebody gives you something that you don't really enjoy. Well, you can either be the type of person that enjoys the experience and gives them a compliment or a thank you for taking their time to provide that meal to you, or you could be the type of person that says, you know what, that just wasn't my cup of tea. This was terrible. I didn't like it. And you could take all that energy that you had inside, and instead of praising that person or that individual and appreciating who and what they did for you, you take the negative out of life. And my suggestion is to always try your best to put whatever is positive in life, because, I mean, you can only be the ray of sunlight or the ray of light that you want to see. We got to be the light we want to see. So I try to make things simple. I try to make things easy. And that's why when we're here today and I'm talking about this main ingredient, I got to show you exactly how this all started. So how this all started, and this is going to be the appetizer. Okay, we're going to break this down into 3 courses. You're going to get the appetizer, you're going to get your starter, your soup and your salad, then we're going to break it down to the main entree. Okay, now the appetizer goes as this. I had a set of grandparents. They were probably the most awesome people on the planet. And my grandmother, she was actually born on the same plantation that owned them previous. And they allowed them to become sharecroppers. Now, some people would look at that in a negative way, but the positive is the skill set that they learned as sharecroppers to learn how to farm and to learn how to take the land that started as nothing and to produce something from that. That's not only a skill set, but it's a gift. Because to be able to make something out of nothing is difficult for some and easy for others, or it'll appear to be. That's what you have to do that. You have to love life so much that you can take the nothing that's there and have so much inside of you and dig so deep down inside of you and find out what it is that you can plant into life, which will eventually blossom into your own. That skill set that my grandmother got in her childhood, being the daughter of sharecroppers, eventually poured down into my mother, which eventually poured down into myself. Now, this woman, I have to say, is Superman and Superwoman mixed together. She had 14 children. Now, I don't know how many people out there had a grandmother that had 14 kids, but when you have a woman in your life that has given life to that many people, all she does is speak life into you. All she does is pour positivity into you. And I remember the first time I ever stepped in front of a stove was at my grandmother's house. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved it because she didn't tell me that I couldn't do anything. She told me that I could do everything. And it started at a very young age. She'd get the chair, she'd put it in front of the stove. She'd tell us about how we could keep our heat low and not burn anything, but we could crack our own eggs and we could make grits. But she always told us, don't turn that fire too high. It'll pop you. And we always thought to ourselves, okay, well, she's not looking. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little bit, just a little bit. And the moment we turn the heat up, those grits get to popping all out the pot. And it's whoo, 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 whoo. Okay. All right, okay. calm down. Let me turn this heat back down a little bit. And again, there goes another lesson. The fire, the heat, the pressure. Well, when you're not looking and you want to add more elements to your life, you want to add more flames to your life, well, you got to understand the more elements, the more things you have to then be able to focus on, the more things you have to handle. And if you're not able to handle it, yes, you will get burnt. You'll get popped. You'll have all kinds of things jumping in and out of the pot because you didn't have the insight to listen to the signs and keep things down, keep them low, keep them at a minimum, keep them contained. Keep your energy contained, keep your mind contained. Now, moving on from that lesson, my grandmother, she had about an acre. And us as kids, again, we loved hanging out at my grandmother's house because it wasn't that we could just cook, but we could dance all night long. We could sing. This was the meetup place for all the cousins. That's what we did. And, she thought to herself, hey, why not? I mean, welcome. How you doing? I see you. Welcome. This was one of those things that we as children, again, just enjoying the time and being with my grandmother, never recognized or didn't understand that the lessons that she was teaching us were out in the yard, okay? By her allowing us to be out in that garden, in that 1 acre of land, my grandfather, who was also an amazing person, he was a fisherman. He would bring home the fish. He would cut up the fish, cut off the heads, put them in a bucket. We thought that was disgusting. We had no idea what was really going on. But for her, she would give us the bucket. She would give us some shovels. She'd send us out in the yard. And next thing you know, we've created a race. Who could dig up and plant the most fish heads in the garden? And if you guys know anything about fish heads or fish oil, then you understand omega-3. You understand how healthy that she was making those vegetables. You understand how healthy that garden really was. But us as kids, we didn't know. We had no idea that these sharecroppers who are now homesteaders were providing food and nutrition that was healthy, no GMOs. Nothing was sprayed with anything besides water and vinegar, maybe a little salt here and there. But this woman was instilling into us real, true skills we had no idea about. None. Now, not only is she teaching us farming, she's teaching us how to cook for ourselves. She cleaned homes for many people in this city here in San Diego. She taught us how to run a business, but we also didn't know she was running a business. She had a cleaning service. So you're talking about a lady in a time in America where things were slightly different. And when I say different, I mean the mindsets were different. but she was strong. She was resilient. She was used to pouring into people and pouring into situations. And that, for me, as I grew up and I watched her evolve, I, again, didn't really know what I was watching. Now, I do remember this. I remember taking these books she had. They were yellow and they had triangles in them. And if anybody knows anything about nutrition, you understand the nutritional pyramid. Well, we just thought they were cool coloring books. They were yellow and we had markers. And so we were going to color all over them. And we didn't have any idea that we were completely annihilating her nutrition packets because she taught nutrition classes, but we didn't know what we were doing. We just thought we were having a good time. Now, I tell you guys all of that in this verbal appetizer to let you know that I was watching myself as I was growing up. I was watching the entrepreneur. I was watching the chef. I was watching the farmer. I was watching the person that was able to nurture, feed, and love not only her intimate community, which was her children, but the community around her as well. If you know me, or you've been around my brand, or you've seen our company, you'll understand that tagline, feed the community. Feed. Feeding for me is facilitating education everyone deserves. That's feeding for me. Sometimes the education that you want, sometimes the education that you need, it does not come from the space or place or person that you thought it would come from. Here I am. This is a Sunday in September in 2020, after what some would consider maybe the most difficult year any of us have ever had. And yet and still, there's a place I have to go to where I have to find a positivity and a light that I have to shine upon the individuals that are here tonight. Because you didn't just come here to see me. You came here to get that formula. You want to know what that main ingredient is. You got to understand, we all have a main ingredient. We all have something uniquely special inside of us. And it may come from a space or a place or a person that you are completely unaware of. You might have been watching your mentor, your inspiration, the entire time you were living and had no idea that that's who it was. You might have thought every time you went and picked up that baseball, or every time you went and picked up that cup, or every time you went outside to get on that bicycle, that it was just something you were doing. When fact of the matter is, it had a deeper connection because it was a continuous, non-planned action that you were doing subconsciously that made you feel a certain way every time you did it. Now, from a kid, I knew I was going to be one of two things only. I was either going to be a chef or I was going to be a professional saxophone player. And in my lifetime, a short one that is, I have had the blessing of doing both. At 16 years old, I was, I was able. I was there. I was on stage. The lights were shining. The photos were getting taken. And I was just playing my heart out. I just thought I was just Kenny G and everything else, all put in one. And I loved it. I loved music. I still love music. I loved music because every time we were at my grandma's house, she'd let us stay up all night long playing records and dancing, and no one cared what time it was, especially not her. And when we fell asleep, she was happy because our souls were filled. Now, again, I'm diving into where and how and why. Why do I love music so much? Because it's a part of me. Why do I love food so much? It's because it's a part of me. But I'm not sold on it. And that's a lot of us. May not be sold on it. May not be sold on it at all. Because something else is telling us we got to pay those bills. Got to pay the bills. Got to get it done. Or somebody in your social circle is telling you, because they haven't tried it, to not try it. They haven't succeeded at it, so you might not succeed at it. But you cannot be the type of person that hears that. You can't. You can't listen to that. You have to understand everyone sees things differently. Everybody's eyes see things differently. We hear, we touch, and we taste. All of our senses are all different. So how you hear something or receive something and the way I receive something or hear something is going to be completely different. But what you also have to understand is that's what makes us uniquely special. That goes back in to that main ingredient. Now, I hope you guys are taking notes and understand that there's a recipe to this. It starts at one place, meaning the core, way, way, way back. You're not aware of how far back, but it was a long time ago that that recipe of yours started. Every recipe has a base. It starts with something. You're either boiling some water, which I'm doing right here behind me. You're waiting to find out what ingredients need to go into either the hot pan, the hot water. Do I need to season the water? Do I need to put some oil inside of the pot? What is it that I need to do to get the meal cooking? That's life. What do you need to do to get that career cooking? What do you need to do to find out what's special for you? What do you need to do to find out what you have inside that is special, that can help other people or is for other people? And that kind of goes back into now moving into that second course, our soup and our salad. Well, sometimes things are going to be hot, sometimes things are going to be cold. The hot, we'll refer to that as the soup. So say you find something and you see it online and everybody else is doing fantastic. They're selling it. They're doing great. They got their Amazon store and they're killing it. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to do Amazon. So you go and you do Amazon. And it might be hot for a little while. It might be the most amazing 6 months, 2 years, 3 years of your life. But then eventually, when that soup sits on the table for a while and you're waiting for that entree, soup's cooling down. Soup's cooling down. And it's cooling down more and more and more and more. And guess what? Eventually, not so edible. And at the same time, that soup is you trying things that really weren't for you, but they were hot. So you tried it. But that's not really what this is about. Well, then you could also be the person that goes and say, I want to try some salad. I mean, hey, you know, you got a certain amount of people, right? They may try something that's not hot. They might want to go completely to the other side. To the other side, meaning they want to try things that are completely off the beaten path. It totally represents them. It can have the smallest amount of customers or fans. This is a niche. And again, if you understand a niche, you really must take your time to understand that niche. Anything in a niche requires more time, more energy, more effort, more money, more support than some of us are even ready for. So although you're trying and you're mustering up all this energy and you're going and you're promoting, and this is the thing that's going to happen for me because I know it's special to me and to that other small group of people, it doesn't catch on fast enough. And then eventually it starts to cool down, and cool down, just like that soup. And you walked away from it. Why? Because again, it was just an appetizer. It was just a second course. It wasn't the main dish. You knew that's not what you wanted. You knew that's not what was going to take you there. And you also knew when you were doing it that although you liked it, it didn't really make you feel great inside. Of course, Hannah. This is the type of talk that really makes you dive deep into your soul. This is food for the soul. They don't call it soul food for nothing, okay? it does something for you. It brings up something, an emotion, a time, a memory. Right now, what we're talking about and where we're going in this second course is breaking down the fact that you were not wrong for trying those things. For 18 years, I tried things. I worked for some of the most amazing brands on this planet. Vitamin Water, Nike, Kind Bars, Hint Water. I've worked for everything that you could possibly think of. Nike Golf. Marketing was my thing. I knew that I could understand stuff. I have a great way with people, so why not sell them things? Why not tell them about things? It makes a great living. My family will be proud of me because I'm making it. But am I happy though? I mean, I get up and I go to work every day and I pay my rent and I get to hang out with my friends, but the whole time in my mind, all I could think of is, man, I wonder when my cousin is going to do another one of those catering events so I could go help her. Because, man, I can't wait to get back into the kitchen. But here I am at work and I'm making a great living. But all I keep thinking about is, man, I can't wait for us to do another party this weekend, this weekend, this weekend, this weekend. And my life started turning into me lusting for the weekends. I no longer was paying attention at all to the fact that I had all these other things going in my mind because I was literally on the second course. I wasn't even remotely near the entree. I wasn't there yet. And it's not wrong because it's good to have skill sets. You must understand that. It's good to know how to build things. It's good to know how to be good with people. It's good to know how to be organized, how to be structured, how to speak, how to talk, be comfortable. It's good to learn those skills, but you must understand you're learning those skills so that when the main entree comes to the table, not only are you able to eat, enjoy all things, you don't choke, it doesn't taste wrong, you know the right amount of salt and pepper to add to it if it's off just a little bit in order for it to be palatable, in order for make it delicious to you and to someone else. If they want to take a bite, it's okay. These are all things that we have to understand in phases of life. It goes from the appetizer to our second dish to our entree. This is how we acquire steps needed to get to our recipe, our own individual recipe. There is where our main ingredients lie, taking our journey from here to there, from here to there. We go step 1 to step 2 to step 3 and not be afraid. Not be afraid to take those steps, but also not be afraid to take the steps back that we need to in order to step forward. Because everything that we do is just one more ingredient that we add in our recipe. Eventually, you get to start cooking without the recipe altogether because you understand how the recipe works. You've done it so many times. We're at the point where the grits that I showed you guys about before. Well, one of the reasons why I love grits is because every person does them differently. Some people like creamy grits. Some people like grits with salt. There's some people who like grits with sugar. Some people like toppings on them. Some people like them plain. Well, I feel like in life, as an individual or as a person, you have to start off with something basic, meaning ourselves, meaning find something that you can own. Find something you love that you can own. And we're moving now into our entree. We're moving now into our main ingredient. You guys are taking notes. I know you are. You need to understand that that recipe starts with ingredients. The ingredients go into instruction, comprehending the instruction, putting it in the pan, cooking it, and creating a dish. So that's what we're about to do right now, okay? So, ingredients. When it comes to ingredients for a recipe in success, the first ingredient is take a moment, go back as far as you can to the first time that you said, I want to be this. Insert whatever here. It could have been 5 things, and that's okay. But you got to go back as far as you possibly can to the moment you said to yourself, before any of the naysayers got there, before any of the this is good for adulthood, you should do this. Well, you shouldn't do this. Before all the outside chatter came in, go back there to the place where you said to yourself, I want to be a insert title here. And it might have seemed like the most crazy idea, but some way, somehow, the thought came into your mind because you had the imagination to think it first. Second of all, is it something that you would do no matter what? If there was absolutely no money involved, if there was absolutely nobody who cared about it but you, think about the thing that you would do for money or without. No matter what, it would make you happy. That's your second ingredient. Your third ingredient. What difference would it make for your life? What difference would it make for your life, for your friend's life, for your family's life, for your legacy? If you were to leave the planet today, what difference could it make if you did it? And when you do it, not at the lowest level, scale it up. Scale it up. Yes, I'm a chef, but I don't just cook food for people. I have an entire cooking course that I do for children from ages kindergarten to 5th grade. I teach them history through food. Last week, we did an episode of this cooking class. I taught the children about the German ancestry and the immigrants from Germany who came here from Hamburg, and the relation of Hamburg, Germany to the hamburgers that we have today. Scale up. Something you do will mean so much more. You got to scale up. Fourth, if you don't do it, whatever it is, are you going to regret it later? And when I say in a regret, in a way of just like a feel or emotion, like, will there be a piece of you that is completely missing if you don't do what it is, this statement, if you don't do it? Are you going to feel that type of regret? Is it going to be an empty hole inside of you? Are you always going to say, man, I wish I could have been a long distance runner. Man, I wish I could have went to the US Open. Man, I always wanted to do archery. Gosh, I always just wanted to be a painter. I can't wait till I retire. It's not always about that. It's if you don't do it, will you feel in some part of your life that something is missing because that aspect of you was not able to be shown. 5. Can you see yourself doing it for the rest of your life? Like, retirement's not even an option. Like, who wants to retire? I don't want to retire from being a chef. I love this. I love everything about this. There's so many countries, so many food items that I've never even tasted. I don't know the origin of everything. I don't even know the countries where everything came from. But I want to do everything in my power to learn where they came from. That's going to allow me to travel to countries and places and lands and meet people that I could have never imagined to meet, because what I'm doing right now is a lifelong journey. Whatever you're doing should be a lifelong journey. You should want to learn so much about it that you don't ever want to retire. You don't ever want it to end. Why? Because if it's a true passion, if it's something you really want to do, you can never truly learn everything about it. And maybe something you know about it is something the next person doesn't. So therefore, you could be bringing education to that field anyway. You're leveling up. Now we're getting close. We're almost down at the bottom of the list. But one of the things I want you guys to know is that when it comes to finding your true main ingredient, because of everything that I've listed here, there's one thing that I will never be able to list. And it's you. I don't know you, but you know you. You know what gets you up in the morning. You know what would, even if the alarm clock went off and you didn't really feel like doing, you wanted to push the snooze once or twice, you know what is out there inside of you that will make you get up faster. Meaning, the individuals that we are really just people who are waiting to find a space or a place for our talents inside of us to shine just that much more, but we're just waiting to figure out what it is. So if you can't find something from back in the day that sparked an interest, something that makes you don't ever want to retire.
Yeah, the truth, I actually liked it. It was funny.
It was funny. But if you can't figure this out, and when I say that, if you can't figure it out in a way to where once you literally write down this list, find out all the things that you know about it, see how many people would feel something from your addition to it, then you're kind of missing what we're saying here. This is a deep dive. This is you actually feeding the community. This is how you feed. This is how you facilitate the education. This is how you make sure everyone gets to enjoy all things in your subject matter. That's what this is really about. That's your true main ingredient. But I can't tell you that. You know that. You know that one missing piece inside. Now we're going to go to number 6. Okay? Number 6 in this is understanding you have a social responsibility. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever your skill set may be, you have a responsibility to give back in a way that not only feeds you, but feeds others. Again, for us, we create meals, we feed individuals during certain holidays, and that's us, again, scaling and leveling up. Not just being a chef, but understanding that I could give somebody a memorable experience during the holidays that they can't have because maybe life has taken some things away from them. social responsibility. Okay. Now, lastly, there's not 10 things here. Lastly, outside of the social responsibility, understanding that when you do find your talent and when you do understand what your true main ingredient is, the moment you figure it out, it's going to be this aha moment. It's all going to connect. Now, I always thought that was crazy. I would watch all these people online and I'd be like, what in the world are they talking about? The aha moment. Well, the aha moment for me was understanding that not only did I love food, but I was willing to leave a corporate job that had all the benefits and all the bells and whistles to come back and to work every single day, twice as hard for myself. I was able to understand that what it was I was doing did not make me feel good every day. What I was doing was just filling time. I wasn't making the best of my time. By me not dedicating myself to myself, number 7, dedicating myself to myself, that meant every waking moment I had that I could dedicate to my craft, meaning, I'm sorry, this is my letter of resignation because I have taken the time to save my finances and do my research. I am now deciding to go back to college after being 18 years in a career that I know doesn't fully satisfy me. I'm willing to take the risk. You got to dedicate yourself to yourself. You got to be willing to take that risk. The risk needs to be calculated. Understand that. I don't want anybody going out tomorrow morning and quitting their job. That's not what this is about. I want you to understand their steps to this. Dedicating yourself to yourself. Going 100% all in. That means do the research. Take the time and do the research. Understand that whatever it is you want to do, I'm sure there's a book, there's a video, there's a person you can go to, you can talk with, and get the information to scale yourself up. You can get a mentor, even a mentor that you've never met. You can read the books. You can listen to the audibles. You can go out and seek the information necessary before you make the plan to dedicate yourself fully to yourself so you don't financially hurt yourself. But once you do that, once you acquire the knowledge, create your savings, create your plan, I beg of you to please, please leave the situation and go to the other side of happiness. It's just that simple. What you don't like right now, what job you're working at or whatever you're doing that doesn't satisfy you, it's not going to one day satisfy you. You need to understand there are steps that have to be taken to back out of that space to allow you to run into the space that is truly yours. You have more than enough inside of you. You guys are brilliant. You guys are smart. You know what this is. You know that life is only going to give to you what you put into it. And that's the final and main ingredient. You taking the time to educate yourself. Be there, dedicate yourself 100% to yourself, but get as much information that you possibly can in your field before you leave whatever said occupation or job that you're currently at, so that when you finally do leave and you take that step back, you spring yourself back as I did, and you write that letter of resignation. When you then go walk into that new career path full time, and that now becomes your day-to-day life, your day-to-day responsibility, and you start working on all of the different things to level yourself up, create your social responsibility, things that you can do to make sure that you're never going to want to retire, because everything that you have inside of you now is going to be dedicated towards this new field, you'll be a happy person. I promise you that. I'm living proof. I left my job January 2019. I have not looked back. I'm happy of every single thing that I ever did, every person that I've ever come across, every skill set that I've ever learned. And I just have to say, when it comes to feeding the community, as of now, I understand that feeding the community for me is a part of my day-to-day life. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you got something out of being here tonight. I hope I was able to spiritually, mentally, and emotionally feed you, to tell you what it is that you have to do. I need you all to understand that you have it inside already. It's going to take some steps, and it's going to take some deep diving. And it's going to take some real dedication to self, to sit back and look at the skills you have and find out what works for you and what truly defines and makes your recipe for success. Because now you guys all have a list of the key ingredients that are your main ingredient to success. Are we good? Everybody good? All right. Okay. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the loves. Okay, what does it say here? It says, did you ever feel like your thing was already oversaturated, and why put another chef out there? What did you tell yourself to push through regardless? Okay, great question. Of course I felt like that, 100%. And you're gonna feel like that too, whatever it is that you're doing, okay? Because every single thing that is being done right now has been done before. But I like to say this. I said this on one of my podcasts. Back in the day, they had forks, right? And now they have gold forks. They have forks with designs on them. They had bowls, and now they have big white bowls and square bowls, and they had white plates and square plates and plates that were made with all types of designs. And I mean, what you see out there has already been done, but somebody has to elevate it. Perfect example. There were a series of really, really expensive china that were out for tons and tons and tons of years. Unfortunately, those same beautiful pieces of china were putting lead in individuals' food. Somebody had to understand that, well, I thought I was going to paint on the plates and make them pretty and I could sell them. The reality of it is there was also some danger in that. So they elevated, but not safely. They thought they were doing something that could elevate the culture. And of course it did, because we all probably have some priceless china that we can't or should not eat off of. But I'm saying that to say this. When you have an industry, whether it be cell phone technology or it be food, of course there's a million other people out there already doing it. But that goes back again to doing the research, making sure you have some social responsibility, making sure you're willing to be the person that's going to go out and elevate whatever it is to the next level. So it doesn't matter that somebody else already was in my space. I knew by me being in my space the way that I was in my space, it was going to be different. I knew that by me being in my space and the way that I can communicate with children would possibly be another way that another chef could never communicate with kids. I knew that me being a chef and having my background as a caterer going into a fine dining environment, I was going to be able to produce my food faster. I knew that from working in a fine dining environment, going back into the catering space that I was then going to be able to present beautiful plates of food that didn't just look like a person went to a company picnic. It's taking, again, everything that you've learned from that entree, that second course, excuse me, and bringing it into the entree course. That's what is the difference between somebody being able to take information or take a skill set that they see 1,000 other people have that same skill set, but it does not matter. Doesn't matter at all. You take that same skill set and you elevate it, level up. And that's where we're at. Gotta level up. You guys have any more questions for me? Let's see here what we got. Well, thank you, Miss Jess. I appreciate that. I mean, hey, this is all advice I wish somebody would have gave to me. Thank you very much. I wish somebody would give this advice to me as well. You know, one thing we all got to understand is it doesn't matter what the next person is doing as long as you're doing it good, better, and on a whole nother level. Please know that. Do it on a whole nother level. Like, I don't think LeBron James cared that there was a Michael Jordan. I don't think he cared that there was a Kobe. He knew he wanted to be the best too. Be a franchise player. Have the work ethic that you know the next guy doesn't. That's what separates. That's what separates the greats. I mean, you could be good or you could be great. Be willing to try to be great. Get there. I mean, hey, if you fall short from being great, all you could do is be way better than good. It's simple. I told y'all, simple things. We make life complicated, but life is not that difficult. It's very easy. We just have to scale back sometimes in order so that we can handle it. So I will say this: if anybody doesn't have any more questions, I myself am always willing to speak, to talk, to educate, to feed my community. If you need any of our services, if you haven't got a chance to eat with my company, if you haven't had a chance to sit down with us or have a private dinner with us or take one of our classes, or if you have children, you can join us. Go online on my social media. The links are in the bio. We do private courses for the kids, private courses for the adults, private dinners, and we'd love to come out and service you. I have an amazing team of individuals that support me. The best part about the individuals who support me is they're all my family. So this is a family affair, and I invite each and every one of you guys to experience what it is that we do here at the fast food company. Today, again, was me basically giving everything I had inside as far as you individuals out there that might be looking for a recipe to get to the next level, to find yourself, your career, or the things that are just the best things for you inside that somebody's had to like dig out. So I hope I was able to reach the soul. I hope I was able to give you guys some insight. And if you need anything, please make sure to send us an email at hello@thefastfoodco.com. Again, that's hello@thefastfoodco.com. And we will try to reply to you within 24 hours. I want to say happy Sunday. Enjoy the rest of 2020. Thank you again for joining us here on this final event of the San Diego Design Week. And I have one ask, just one. If you find out what your main ingredient is, and you then seek and have it locked down, I not only will sit down with you and draft out a plan from my 18 years of corporate marketing experience, but I will also help you get to the point of showcasing that skill set next year for 2021 Design Week. That's the goal. So let's all find what we have inside. And if we have to find someone, something that may not exactly connect the way we think, let's dig even deeper. Let's get to a place of getting our main ingredient to work for us and figuring out how we can then showcase it and give it to others the way that we need to, because at the end of the day, the world needs us all to be our special selves. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off. Again, hello at the Fast Food Co. Thank you, Miss Christina. Hello at thefastfoodco.com. Send us a message. If you need anything from me, I'm here. I'm ready to eat. I hope you guys are ready to eat. I hope you guys had a chance to get what you needed out of this. And that's it. That's all I got for you. Nothing but love over here. Chef K, see you next time. Peace.